What if a brilliant scientist suddenly wakes up in the future, only to find his world shattered? His family has been brutally murdered, and to make things worse, he's the one everyone blames. With time itself now his only hope, can he undo the tragedy and rewrite fate? Or will he be trapped forever in a spiraling time paradox? Our story begins in a high-tech laboratory where Dr. Ethan, a visionary scientist, is working alongside his assistant, Seal. Ethan has recently created a revolutionary teleportation device designed to transport living beings instantly from one location to another using linked portals. The system relies on a special liquid known as the tracker, which must be injected into the subject before teleportation. On this particular day, August 23rd, a date that will play a crucial role later, they prepare to test the machine for the very first time. Their subject is a friendly lab dog named Charlie. Seal carefully injects Charlie with the tracker fluid and places him inside the departure chamber. Ethan activates the system. Within seconds, Charlie vanishes. At first, they're overjoyed. The teleportation appears to have worked, but their excitement quickly turns into confusion and fear when Charlie doesn't appear in the receiving chamber. He's gone, completely. And according to the machine's design, it's impossible to teleport without both portals being linked. Something has gone terribly wrong. They run diagnostics, recheck every wire, code, and calibration. But no matter how many times they go over the process, there's no clear explanation. Charlie has simply disappeared into thin air, and they have no idea where or when he might be. After a long day of testing, Ethan and Seal head to their homes. Ethan's family's waiting, his wife Tiffany, his mother Stella, and his younger sister Fiona. It's a special day. It's Stella's birthday, and a small party is planned for the evening. Before the celebration, Ethan is asked to pick up some wine. As he steps out to buy it, something strange happens. Just outside the store, an unknown man bumps into him aggressively. The wine bottle slips from Ethan's hands, crashes to the ground, and shatters. He turns quickly, but the man is already gone. Ethan catches no glimpse of his face. Who was he? That question will lead to a shocking twist later in the story. Shaken but not overly concerned, Ethan returns to the lab to recheck the teleportation device. Hours pass as he runs diagnostics and replays the process over and over. Then suddenly, Charlie reappears in the receiving chamber. It's been 5 hours since the initial teleportation, but the dog looks perfectly fine. Ethan is stunned. The device worked, but with a massive delay. Why? Where had Charlie been all that time? Only one way to find out. Driven by curiosity and without waiting for Seal, Ethan decides to test the machine on himself. He injects the tracker fluid into his arm, activates the device, and stands inside the chamber. Moments later, the familiar hum fades, and silence takes over. He opens his eyes, now standing in the receiving chamber. But everything around him is wrong. The lab is almost unrecognizable. Dust covers the machines. Walls are cracked, wires hang loose, and parts of the room seem abandoned or burned. It looks like years, not minutes, have passed. Ethan stares around in disbelief. How did everything change in just a few seconds? Ethan steps outside the lab, hoping to make sense of what just happened, but things only get stranger. A guard sitting nearby suddenly spots him and starts yelling, claiming that the lab is now private property owned by a large tech company and no one is allowed there. Confused and alarmed, Ethan runs and manages to escape. He's stunned. That lab was his. How could it now belong to someone else? Still in shock, Ethan rushes to his home, only to find that it's been sold. New people live there, and his family is nowhere to be found. Desperate, he heads to Seal's house. When Seal opens the door, she gasps in shock. "Where have you been hiding all this time?" she asks. "How did you get away from the police?" Ethan, completely confused, says he doesn't understand anything that's going on. He begs her to explain what's happened. Now comes the biggest twist. Seal tells him that 6 months have passed since the day he tested the machine. Somehow he didn't just teleport, he traveled forward in time. The machine he built doesn't just move things between places, it moves them through time. Ethan is stunned. In this future, everything in his life has fallen apart. His lab has been taken over by a tech corporation, his house was sold, and, worst of all, his mother is now in the hospital. Even more shocking, the police have been searching for Ethan for the last 6 months. When Ethan asks why the police are after him, Seal hesitates, then tells him the truth. And what she says shakes him to his very core. 6 months ago, on the very day Ethan disappeared, August 23rd, something tragic happened. That evening, Ethan's wife Tiffany and his sister Fiona were both murdered. Since Ethan vanished on the same day, the police believe he's responsible. Now hearing this from Seal, Ethan is completely shattered. His wife and sister, Gone? And the world thinks he killed them? Determined to uncover the truth, Ethan searches news archives and finds the location of the murders, an old abandoned factory. He rushes there, hoping to find clues. But just as he arrives, the police show up and arrest him on the spot. During the investigation, forensic tests reveal that Ethan's fingerprints are not on the murder weapons. Still, his 6-month disappearance raises suspicion. Did he hire someone to do it? Did he run away out of guilt? The detectives flood him with questions, but Ethan is as lost as they are. He has no idea how his loved ones died. He wasn't even in this timeline when it happened. Suddenly, a lawyer appears and arranges for Ethan's bail. Ethan doesn't recognize him, but soon learns the lawyer was sent by a mysterious corporation, Rubicon International. As Ethan steps out of the police station, he's approached by men claiming to work for Rubicon, but they're not there to help. They reveal the shocking truth. Rubicon bailed him out just so they could kill him themselves. Why? They don't say. Ethan barely escapes with his life. Now he realizes there's only one option left: to go back to August 23rd, back to the moment it all went wrong. He sneaks into his lab, dodging guards and surveillance, and activates the machine one more time. In the blink of an eye, Ethan is back, 6 months in the past. It's the evening of August 23rd, the night his wife and sister are destined to die. But now he has only a few hours left to stop it. As he prepares to act, another complication arises. His past self, original Ethan, is still in the lab, waiting for the dog Charlie to return from the first teleportation. That means there are now 2 Ethans in the same timeline. To keep things clear, we'll call the time-traveling version Ethan 2. Now back in his own time, Ethan 2 knows he has only hours left to prevent the death of his wife and sister. His first move? He meets Seal secretly and demands to know everything about the man behind Rubicon International, the same company Ethan once worked for before walking away. Now he realizes that in the future, this very company has taken control of his lab. But the truth goes much deeper and darker. Through Seal's help and his own digging, Ethan uncovers a horrifying pattern. Rubicon International has been eliminating independent scientists for years, stealing their research and making billions by passing it off as their own. And now Ethan is their next target. To silence him and take his teleportation tech, they've framed him for murder by killing his wife and sister. But one question haunts Ethan. How did Rubicon even know about his experiment? Only Seal and his immediate family were aware of it. That means someone close betrayed him, someone he trusted. Before diving into that mystery, Ethan knows he must act fast to protect his loved ones. He frantically tries calling his wife, Tiffany, but her phone keeps ringing. No answer. So he rushes to his sister Fiona's house first. When he arrives, he's too late. Someone is already there, sent to kill her. A violent struggle breaks out. Ethan fights for his life and narrowly manages to knock the attacker unconscious. With no time to waste, he gets Fiona and his mother Stella to safety and explains everything. Their lives are in danger, and they must stay hidden until he can stop what's coming. But Tiffany's phone is still off. Worried sick, Ethan leaves them behind and races to her office, hoping she's still there. As he arrives near the building, relief turns into dread. Waiting for him are Rubicon's agents. Before he can react, they surround him, force him into a vehicle, and take him away. Again, Roman, the powerful owner of the private lab, finally comes face to face with Ethan. With a smug smile, he tells Ethan that he's had his eyes on his invention for years. He plans to steal it and sell the teleportation device as his own, not realizing that it's actually a time machine. Then Roman reveals his cruel plan. Once he walks out of the room, his men will kill Ethan and then go after his wife and sister. He wants to make it look like Ethan killed them all and then took his own life. Everything is now unfolding exactly the way Ethan saw in the future. But this time, Ethan is determined to change it. As soon as Roman leaves, Ethan creates chaos, knocking things over, setting off alarms, and runs. 2 guards chase after him through the corridors. While escaping, Ethan suddenly crashes into his past self, the Ethan from earlier in the day. It's the same moment we saw at the beginning of the story, the mysterious collision outside the shop. Now it becomes clear that man Ethan bumped into was himself from the future, trying to escape. Ethan quickly distracts the guards and pulls them away from his past version. But just when he starts heading home to protect his family, someone sneaks up behind him and hits him hard on the head. Ethan falls to the ground unconscious, and the question remains, who knocked him out? We'll find out soon. After several long hours, Ethan finally wakes up, realizing he had been unconscious for a long time. The moment he remembers what's supposed to happen, panic sets in. His wife is in danger, and time is running out. He rushes to the place where, in the future, she was murdered. But what he finds shocks him to the core. Inside, he sees another version of himself, sitting next to his wife's lifeless body, covered in blood. It's Ethan too. Ethan is horrified. How could this be happening? Desperate to stop this from becoming the future, he runs back to the lab and uses the machine again, this time traveling just a few hours earlier on the same day. This makes it the third version of Ethan present on August 23rd. We'll now call him Ethan 3. Now aware of everything that's happened so far, Ethan 3 knows exactly what to do. First, he finds Ethan 2, the version who had escaped from Roman's guards and was running through the streets. Ethan 3 sneaks up behind him and knocks him out with an injection. This explains the earlier scene where Ethan 2 was mysteriously knocked unconscious. It was Ethan 3 all along. Ethan 3 then takes Ethan 2 to a safe place to keep him out of the way and ensure he doesn't interfere again. With that taken care of, Ethan 3 rushes to the abandoned factory where his wife is supposed to be killed soon. He plans to stop it before it happens. But what he discovers there is even more painful than before. His wife Tiffany is tied to a chair, and shockingly, his sister Fiona is there, helping the enemy. Ethan can't believe what he's seeing. As the truth unravels, Fiona breaks down and confesses. She tells Ethan that she recently lost a huge amount of money through gambling. She was desperate and didn't know what to do. That's when Roman, the owner of Rubicon International, contacted her. He told her about Ethan's secret teleportation experiment and offered her a deal. Help him steal the invention, and in return, he'd pay off her debts. Ethan stood frozen, shattered by the sight of his sister Fiona, pointing a gun at his wife. He pleaded with her, begging her to stop, but Fiona, driven by desperation and greed, pulled the trigger. In front of his eyes, Tiffany was shot. Ethan screamed in agony, but before he could even react, another gunshot echoed through the factory, this time from behind. Fiona collapsed. Standing behind her was Roman, cold and calm. He looked at Ethan with a smirk and said, "She was just a pawn. We used her to get to your invention. And now, no witnesses." He turned to his guards. "Kill him. Make it look like he murdered them both and then took his own life. Let history bury him in shame." The guards raised their guns. Ethan, completely broken, could barely move. He had tried so hard to change the future. So many versions of him, so many loops, but nothing worked. He had failed. Again. But just as one of the guards was about to pull the trigger, Tiffany, badly wounded but still alive, lunged forward with her last breath and tackled the guard. A struggle broke out. Tiffany was killed, but her sacrifice bought Ethan precious seconds. Fueled by rage and grief, Ethan broke free, overpowered the guards, and killed them all. The factory fell silent. Everyone he loved was gone. Both his wife and sister were dead. He had survived, but for what? And then, like a cruel déjà vu, his past version, the original Ethan, arrived at the scene. The very same moment we witnessed earlier in the story. Everything had come full circle. Ethan 3 looked at his other self and ran, just like before. Back at the lab, he stood in front of the time machine one last time. Now he finally understood. No matter how many times he traveled, the past couldn't be rewritten. The timeline had a way of fixing itself. All his attempts had only delayed the inevitable. There was nothing left for him in this world. Framed for 2 murders, with nothing to go back to, Ethan made a final decision. He would travel far into the future and start over. A new life, a new identity. A world where no one knew him, and no one could take anything away from him again. He activated the machine. The lights flared, the chamber hummed, and in a flash of blue light, Ethan was gone. And with that, the story ends. If you were hooked by this time-bending thriller, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more mind-blowing stories. Thanks for watching.